done before it's all over. Okay.
Yes.
This is only the basics at this point.
Gotcha.
Good evening.
Good evening. That's the fun use of that.
I'm good. What are you? Good.
Trying. Problem.
We got a new borough administrator?
Huh?
We got a new administrator? $1 a year?
Probably $1.
15,000. No, 14,999.
Yeah, 999.
Pension's not affected, correct?
I think you can get a pension at $14.9.
You still have it?
Yeah.
So they'll
What is it? It's 7,500, gets it 7,500 paid pension system now, right?
Yes.
I just want to know how many more people have 300,000 get on committees.
I don't think so. Just more than 7,500.
No, they pull out of it.
That's something you brought up the last time. Remember, the last meeting, Doty's brought up that, what was it called? Not part-time, but it's a seasonal employee? Or something like that?
You need more?
No, I'm just asking you.
No, I have the papers.
Because I
I just
see
didn't
you
have time to write.
if I just wrote them on like these things like, have her know.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you should do.
I have all the papers. You want the papers? I'll give you papers.
No. Because now, if I have to tell you,
Well, just, you know,
the first thing we're doing is tax. It's the first one, it's all the way in the back.
it's right before miscellaneous urban items.
Oh, Matt.
This color orange, that's all we got to do. When I know she's not, I'm gonna go crazy.
When these were posted.
Yeah, so it's like,
I don't know, I did.
It's almost 10 days
Oh,
before.
my God.
And I went on.
Oh, okay.
That would be 24
I
hours.
was like,
No, I thought it was 10
It's a
days.
special meeting, I think the lawyer would need 24 hours. Pretty sure.
I'll have to look it up. Yes, it's paper, I don't see if it was posted. Because it says it posted Thursday. I can find it. I applied just for the legal.
Okay, have everybody's attention. Under the provisions of NJSA 10:4-6, notice of the time and place of this meeting was given by way of a special notice to the Star Ledger, Courier News, and Home News, and posted at Borough Hall. Will everybody please join me in saluting the flag? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First call the roll.
Councilwoman Takac? Here. Council President Demira?
Here.
Councilwoman Jenkins? Here. Councilman Kaplan?
Here.
Councilman First? Councilman Path? And Mayor Doties. And Attorney here too tonight?
Okay, the first thing on the agenda is we're going to start discussion of the 2012 budget with the department heads. The first department that we're going to bring in is the tax collectors department. Tanya, how are you? Good. Do you have any comments before we start? Nothing?
Did they use the microphone too?
Okay. So everyone can hear out there. Yes.
Thank you.
Come on, move down front.
This is like school. I don't see.
Just like assembly, nobody wants to sit in front. All right, Tom, you want to start going through line by line? And if there's any questions, we can stop you as we go.
You just want me to say what I'm wanting at each line item?
Yep.
Supplies, $1,250. It's up from $1,000 from last year because I'm also the purchasing agent and I buy supplies out of the tax collection budget because there's not a separate line item for purchasing.
And last year you spent 1148.
Right. Meetings and conventions, I don't know. I guess it came out of education training because that's what all it is. Mileage, $200, just stays the same. Estimated tax bills, $4,000. Last year I only expended $345 because we didn't do estimated tax bills, which was a huge mistake.
Okay.
It ended up being a disaster because we didn't get our money till way late. We ended up with July and August with no money's coming in.
Now, how will the change in the school election, having it changed in November, I know you talked about that today, how many more times you have to send out tax
I guess
bills?
it all depends on what the school board does. There could be, because I do additional tax bills for the homestead rebate.
Mhm.
I do estimated tax bills. I do the regular tax bills once the budget's been passed, and then depending on what the school does, I could in November end up doing tax bills again. Normally I do it once, maybe twice a year, and
I guess my question to you, if that's the possibility, if that's the way it might happen, do we have enough dollars in this line item to do that?
hopefully the school reimburses. Right now for the homestead rebate, the tax bills that I send up for the homestead rebate,
Mhm.
the state reimburses us for that.
Okay.
So hopefully the school, when I have to do tax bills again for the school, hopefully the school reimburses for that.
They also reimburse for the postage too, so the school, if that ever happened, the school should have to reimburse the borough for all the costs involved in that, including the postage.
Because I see over the years, you spent about $3,000 over the year, except for last year, since 2007, 3,300, 3,400, 3,300, 3,000, 2010. So the reason why it was only 345 last year is because we didn't do estimated.
We didn't do estimated,
Okay. All right.
okay?
Okay.
Tax bill costs, $4,000 because you never know what the vendors are gonna go up, their costs. So we always just say 4,000. Dues and licenses, 800 from 300, because the county of Somerset, which we are a member of their co-op,
Mhm.
sent around, I guess, a survey to see if a membership fee was charged up to not to exceed $500 a year, would we still continue to be part of the Somerset County Co-op? And, I mean, I said yes, because we purchase a lot of things off the Somerset County Co-ops and the Middlesex County Co-op,
Mhm.
salt, a lot of stuff like that for DPW.
Okay.
Education and training, nothing. CEU education, $650, because that's where I have to keep up my CEUs for tax and for purchasing.
Okay.
Equipment, nothing. Equipment service, 0, and miscellaneous, just to increase it to 500 to help cover some of the supplies and expenses for purchasing. And that's it.
Does anybody have any questions for Tanya?
Yeah, what's the difference between the supplies at the top and the miscellaneous supplies at the bottom?
Supplies,
I realize that, but you have two separate line items for supplies.
miscellaneous, because there's different stuff in purchasing I might need. I mean, I guess it could all still be supplies. It would be binders and different kinds of forms and stuff that I need for purchasing. I mean, I guess it could all be in supplies instead of miscellaneous.
I've had to justify under supplies.
Yeah, because it's pretty much all the same thing for tax or purchasing, which,
So you're saying, Sean, to,
That'd be increased.
right? You want to combine?
Do you want to
the two?
combine it, move it up?
I like that, if you're relying on much supplies, because of purchasing everything else.
right,
Unless you utilize it for something else, that's why it's this.
no, it's only just supplies.
Why don't we combine that? Everybody okay with that, combining that? Any other questions for Tanya? Okay, Tanya, thank you. Stop. Yeah, see?
We gotta stay around.
You guys went way too easy on her.
Thanks, Diane.
What else is next? They're all the second one is, this is how we get things.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
All righty, do you want me just to go over what we did, our budget? committee?
Sure.
Okay. Essentially, our budget for last year was $76,000. And what we did is we reduced our budget by $250. So we're putting in for $75,750. Most line items stay the same. The exception would be professional services goes down from $8,000 to $7,750. Supplies remain at $250, mileage at $100, education and training at $200, the equipment is at $200. For Middlesex County Department contract, when we signed up with Middlesex County, our contract was a 2-year contract for $60,000 each year. And we received notice early, I guess it was some point in time at the end of last year, that our contract was going to go up. And John stepped up to the plate and got that corrected to honor our 2-year contract as per the agreement. With miscellaneous expenses, we reduced that by, well, we didn't reduce it, we shifted $1,000 from there. So instead of $6,500, it is now $5,500. Printing and advertising is $150. Clinics, we raised that by $1,000 to $1,500. Because, you know, the thing is with clinics right now and the flu problems we've had and epidemics, and it's just to be more cautious. We thought it was better served in that line item. Stationery remains at $100, and so that brings our budget up to $75,750.
Question I have is miscellaneous. I know last year we spent $2,800, $2,854 last year, and we budgeted $6,500. What was that $2,854 for?
It was for software to streamline for the registrar's office for marriage certificates. So the software was expensive. You had to get a printer because what happens is the software requires a printer that uses NCR paper, so it's 3-ply. And what that has done is it's cut down on the work for the secretaries. Before they had to manually type everything out. This way we can generate the marriage certificates on the computer. And that is why we want to have that remain at that level, because we're looking into any possibilities that's going to make the workload less for the office and be as user-friendly and as efficient as possible. There might be a potential for more software.
I get approximately how much was that software last year? Do you know?
I want to say about $2,800, and then the printer was about $400. That's what I recall.
No,
$950.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
The whole total was that much, but we
Yes.
cut it back because
All right.
I didn't want to pay that
Yeah,
price.
yeah.
It was training.
Yeah,
And there was training.
let's
as
walk them
well.
out.
And the other thing too is because this is still a transitional year, this is only our second year into the contract. And we felt we had gone from 2010, a budget of $128,000 and say $128,500 down to $76,000. It was about a 40% savings. So we thought it was best to be conservative this year as well. and that by next year we'll have a better handle on whether we can make tighter adjustments.
On the clinics also, I mean, we're tripling the amount that we budgeted for last year, and we didn't spend any money last year, so do we really have to triple that?
The thing is each year, there's more and more talk about pandemic flus and other problems. So I think, again, from the public health perspective, you're better off to be more cautious. And vaccinations, they're costly, and if you have to employ, different personnel to help out with clinics and what have you, that again, it's a conservative figure.
My personal feeling as far as the miscellaneous, I just think $5,500 is way too much for miscellaneous. My thought is that should be around $1,000 or $1,500.
Do you want to say?
Well, the only thing is, if we have another issue whereby, for instance, if we need an update with the software, that may exceed that $1,000 allocation.
So if we were to allocate $1,500, we should be okay now.
I think that's much too low. If anything, I would tend to stay with the 5,500 only because of the, different programs that may be available to us. And in the long run, it helps with the efficiency of the office. And again, taking in consideration, this is only our second year with the county. And, it was just a buffer for us. And my thoughts are, it's to be a little bit more, we could probably, look at the numbers a little closer for next year, but I know for myself, I'd like to see things remain the same. We did reduce our budget.
I think it would be just prudent if we were able to have a little bit more of a cushion until we actually get established. I was a little upset when the county came through and they thought they were going to increase us, I think, by about $1,200. So we suggested to them, we have a 2-year contract. So, and now we have a new health officer for the county. I just think it would be prudent to have a little more of a cushion to offset any additional expenses that may come up in the next year or so.
I just think $1,500 is more than enough, but I'll ask the rest of the council if they have any questions or opinions now.
You want to be miscellaneous?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can answer what you want.
Okay. On page 1, Board of Health, where it says salaries, you went from 7,000 to 7,750. I guess there was a mistake on calculation, it should be $8,000.
No, it's 8,000.
Okay, let's say it's 7,000.
Right, it is 8.
I want to be
Yes.
precise, so. Now, did any of the stipends change at all?
They have. What had happened was, we had someone who was covering for us who had she was licensed as a registrar. And so she was there as a backup for when the girls in the office were going for their training. But the thing is now that we have 2 people up and running in the administration office, we don't really need to rely on that other person as much. But we decided to reduce her stipend to $250 just as a safety. People get the flu and, all sorts of things. So we have coverage if, say, someone comes in and needs something.
So the other one stayed the same, did it decrease?
No, what had happened and that's the other thing too, is when we looked at the stipends, a survey was done of about 6 towns. And we averaged what the other towns were paying. And so this number that we came up with was a conservative number, and it was hard for us to estimate how much work would be involved in the office, because we had gone from a full-time registrar to now having people doing it on a part-time basis. There was also talk about increasing this line item if we saw that the workload was much more than what we anticipated. With that in mind, there was a very nominal increase for the two positions of $250 each, and that was it.
So originally it was $4,250 for the first one?
No, 4,500.
It was always 4,000
Yes.
for the first one?
And that's, yes.
Okay, so you did increase, that was my question. You
No,
increased
no,
the extra.
that increased by 250, so it's, I want to say 47.
It says 2012 here, 4,500.
I didn't know.
So these numbers are wrong. 4750. Okay. So the next second deputy registrar should be 2750, not 2,500.
Yeah, I don't have what you're looking at. I know what I have as far as a reference. So we're looking at two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have that?
No, no, I generally don't give that to the departments.
How do you need that back? How do you-
I just didn't have the right down.
No problem, I just wasn't
So,
sure.
I mean, I'll update this.
Okay. 4,500, 3,750.
Right.
2,500, 2,750.
Correct. And then the third position, which is the backup, is $250.
200, okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so what happens there is a deduction.
Okay, so basically you took 500 from with the vacant spot, correct? I'm sorry, I just called that way. By the third person who goes in, correct?
Right, but it was not vacant. The thing is now that we have two people who are trained and able to, be registrars,
Okay.
we don't need to have, we don't have to pay that third person's time of a stipend because we have the coverage. But as a safety, okay, as a safety, because she's been trained with this other person, and it was foolish for us not to give a small amount of stipend to her in the event, two people come down with the flu in that office, it doesn't stop things. You know what I'm saying? We still have coverage down the hall by someone else.
So we do have someone that's going to receive the stipend for $250.
Yes, we do.
Okay,
Yeah, I
because
didn't
we're saying it's
say
vacant, that's.
Oh, no, these
okay.
are they,
No.
I do not.
It says on here.
But I
He doesn't see
Yeah,
that.
okay, that's why.
This
I'm-
was done on January 7th,
Okay.
and at that time, we didn't.
Let's make sure we understand that.
I'm just following the paperwork I haven't done, I'm not looking to make any cuts here. Okay, so 250 now. Let's see, numbers come up. And miscellaneous. You like that we said you set it down to $1,500
Yes.
from $6,500.
Mhm.
The current registrar we have and secretary is currently here. I'd like to ask a question then. The program we currently purchased,
For registrar?
yes,
Yeah. Yeah,
okay. Does the county expect you to change in a minute's notice if they have an update, or they give you time? Say the computer program is not up to date.
The county has nothing to do with it.
Okay, so your program,
A
you
program.
purchased it,
Yeah.
you purchased that program, it was up to date?
Yeah.
Okay. Do they feel how long it'll be up to date for, do they know?
Well, this is Unidex does this program, so if there was any changes that the state makes to the licensing program, which is so antiquated, I wouldn't worry about it. But Unidex would then update the program, in other words, they would update the software. Because we actually was, and I haven't gotten anything, but usually paying a maintenance, an annual maintenance, on something like that, but we haven't seen anything from them.
Is there a maintenance program for because it was just purchased, or there's a
No.
grace period?
No, it shouldn't be any great, but in come the year that, it could be, it might not be annually, so it might just be that we purchased it later on in the year. We might be getting it like, say, I don't know, I want to say September to September, maybe that's what it is, that's why we need, so it's September to September, we haven't had it for a year yet, so I don't know what the cost of that annual, so, when you get software, you always have to keep you have to keep maintenance on it, because they're not gonna,
Do you know how much maintenance?
I don't know, I could call up and find out, you know, we didn't get anything, so I just thought maybe we got away from paying for it this year, but once I call up, I'm gonna, you know, then I'm gonna definitely get a bill, so, but I'll.
Usually programs like that.
Yeah, it's like $400.
Maintenance, so then it's just nothing. It's not-
Yeah, we're probably just like the county.
Yeah, yeah.
If the state changed it, they would.
If the state changed it, then they would have to change the program.
Excuse me, Sean, my understanding, when I spoke to one of the techs from the Unidex, and we asked a similar question to that Board of Health, and my understanding is they will update as what's needed, and they will tell us just then. So I don't think we can anticipate like a year down the road that we can expect this amount of money to last, that we could get a call 6 months from now that we may need an update to that. And I believe all the maintenance, at least the first year, was also part of that.
Yeah, the first year, the whole thing was $950.
$950.
The program was $950?
Yeah, well, I talked, it was higher, everybody thinks it was higher, but when I spoke to them, I got it kind of whittled down to
So
like
you anticipate $5,000 in changes?
Well, no, but in the miscellaneous category, that's what I'm saying, you know, being that this is going into a fresh second year with the county, I just think a little bit of a cushion would be certainly expected in our budget to anticipate any.
So rather than 1,500, 2,250 be sufficient, you think?
I think it's still low. It should be higher. And also just keep in mind, in 2009, for this contract, was $136,062. In 2010, said it was $128,000. So, you know, we've made major strides in cutting back every single corner to reduce expenses for the Board of Health. And I know John and I feel that if we could just, you know, go with this budget for this year, and when we have a better handle on things after the second year of the contract, you know, make more aggressive changes next year, just to be conservative. You know, when you're looking at those figures, you know, we're almost half of what we were in 2009.
We're just trying to streamline the process to make it beneficial for the Board of Health.
Right, right.
But, what do you think?
I can, you know what, I'll go to 2,000, that's it. Councilwoman, any comments on that?
Yeah, just add one thing. It took some doing to promote the $1,200 savings at the freeholders for the county. And they already had a contract set up to charge us the additional $1,200 for the contract. And the fact that Mr. Dave Happy stepped down, who could have enforced the contract. So it really, so the way I would look at it, we would have been hit with this $1,200 increase until we had to really dig in and fight to get that. So that right there is a $1,200 item that, you know, we had to justify again. So that's why I believe we should have the higher budget in the miscellaneous category, just in case we get an item that's to be, you know, a higher amount, like over 1,000.
And I'd like to also mention that the other thing that the county tried to do was to charge additional expenses for inspections and what have you. We put a stop to it because, you know, our agreement is any inspections done are done on our behalf, and any fines or whatever are collected for the town of Middlesex. Surprisingly, there are towns that they agree to the additional charges that, you know, if there is a unsatisfactory, that the county is also collecting. But just so you know, we are looking out for the town. And again, you know, I would hope that you know, be very conservative. If there are cuts, to you know, 3,000, you would even be a little too low. Again, it's because we're on this course of this transitional period with the county.
Again, I'm going to stick at the $2,000 mark. That would be my recommendation to the council. Anybody else's thought on that?
You know, I feel about the savings line items in a budget. Software upgrade, 2,000.
sounds good.
Should be covered in cash.
John?
Absolutely. 2015.
So we have a consensus, we're gonna lower that to $2,000. Any other comments from anybody on the council?
Well, I think we'll have to look at this and figure out.
I mean, just a quick aside, in 2011, the budget was 6,500 under that. And then it was already reduced, it's prospectively reduced to 5,500. I mean, I think it would be more amicable all the way around if we had a reasonable reduction from that point, rather than a radical reduction. I just think that would just be appropriate in our early second year with the county.
I'll tell you, I mean, there's increase in clinics. If you can give me a list of clinics that you're thinking about holding this year and towns to do, so we go from 500 to 1,500. Give me an idea how much that would cost right there.
Yeah, I know, we're tripling that, we didn't spend any money last year.
No.
So. But again, when you talk about clinics, you're talking about benefiting
Absolutely.
residents, so I guess I don't,
We can have a proactive, be proactive and find out what they are, so we can at least have a budget that defines each item.
could you get back to us on the clinics, get back to the finance committee, on the clinics, what type of clinics that you want to do this year, or try to do?
Well, the clinics would be the flu clinics.
Okay.
And then what happens is during, the year, like, if there are other strains of flus out there, like we had the H1N1, that's why the 1,500 was put in there. And you can't predict it. It could happen, it may not happen. So that's basically the answer. That, there's the food clinics, and if there is an event like that. And I think, as a safety net, you need to keep, that amount in there.
Well, I think you're talking about flu shot clinics, things of that sort. Is that-
I'm talking about more of like H1N1. What was it, 3 years ago? In fact, John and I volunteered at many of those clinics where thousands of people throughout the state received vaccinations because of the strain of virus that was out there. So I think that is prudent to have that.
Me personally, I can stay with that. Again, it's for the
No, I
benefit of
have a
residents, so-
problem with it. I just want to see justified for the increase when we didn't spend money last year. That's all I'm asking.
What justification you looking for?
I mean, money wasn't spent last year, we went to get $500, and then we increased to $1,500. My understanding is, okay, H1N1, but that's great, but there's also, is there other conditions in the whole? Like, for seniors, are you looking to have a, take someone's blood pressure clinic for the seniors, or something else like that?
Right.
Yeah, no, it's pretty much county operated.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're more focused on this because, the big concern is the prospective pandemics.
Trying to be proactive.
Right.
I understand.
Which is our goal as a Board of Health, but that's why I think this would be, it's hard to predict what we're gonna have, but I think that's a good meter.
No, that's fine. Okay, I appreciate that, no problem, I'll keep that.
Any other comments? Ladies, any other comments? Any other comments?
Nope.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have a good night, John. Hi Sheila, how are you doing?
I am so easy. My
Simple.
brother say that out loud, I wouldn't say that publicly. Basically, I don't know what your process has been, Mr. Chairman, but my budget basically is pretty much the same that it's been for. We dropped a little bit less transportation this year, I believe, Andrew. I brought the wrong file. Yeah, we kept it the same. We are getting a new bus, so we're hoping that that's not going to probably be used. The one bus that we're replacing has a number of years on it, and so it was an expense. However, the rest of the fleet is aging anyway, so we decided to just leave that as it is. No big deal. If anybody's got any questions on it.
I mean, basically, it's the same as last year. I don't think we can cut any more from your budget. If there wasn't, there's nothing to cut from there. Anybody have any comments or questions?
No.
Sure. That was easy, Sean. Thank you very much.
I still have
I said one more. Okay, so I'm trying to get you out of here.
Oh, that'd be great. Single issue person. Yeah, this is the office expenses and, program, all that kind of stuff. Again, it's pretty much self-explanatory. It was 5,000 last year, we're up to 6,020, just because I sort of thought you guys were probably going to cut this.
Where did you increase, Sheila, as far as?
I think that we increased social events, there've been increases in the expenses for that kind of thing, and instructors, I increased. I would like to be able to do some classes with instructors. We never have paid anyone. It's difficult to get volunteers. I lost my volunteer. Tai Chi, I lost my volunteer in line dancing. I losing my volunteer, temporarily losing my volunteer in computer classes. I don't expect the town to pick any of those up totally, but the seniors, we certainly would expect to charge them. I don't think we should give them things for free. If it was somebody that I knew could not afford it, of course we would. But I would like to be able to keep that line and see if we can't do something, even if it's short-term classes. I know that this would not sustain us through more than 2 or 3 months of, programs that used instructors, but that is sort of,
Sheila,
I think it would be nice if we could have it.
you're right, and I have no problem with this year's budget. For what you accomplish in that department on the budget that you work on is phenomenal. And what you present to our seniors, so I have no problem with this budget. Any other comments from anybody else?
Well, I do have one thing that I would like to ask for. I'm not sure, I asked last year and I think the year before, I would like to see our bus drivers get some sort of small amount of money per hour. They're very, very well paid for bus drivers. 3 out of 4 have CDLs, the 4th one probably, she's hoping she's going to be able to get her, she's a part-timer, Meals on Wheels driver. And I also, this is something that's brand new, I haven't even had a chance to talk to Avery about it, but it's something that should have to be considered for Meals on Wheels. The nutrition program is moving from Piscataway temporarily for 8 months. They're putting a big addition on their center, and it's going to affect their kitchen. So we do not know where they're going to be located. Okay. Hopefully, it might be in a church or something in Piscataway. That would be terrific. Because right now, we're there and back in less than 10 minutes. It's just, it's so convenient. But my concern is that if it goes to Edison or someplace like that, the Edison Senior Center is across from
27.
27. Huh? 27.
287.
And that might entail an additional hour and a half a day going. We probably would not go back. We probably would keep everything here.
try to cut back a bit, but, that's just something that I think, because I know you guys throw some money into that pot after a conversation the other night with Buddy. It's just something, I can't even give you a ballpark.
Okay, what I need you to do now, what we need you to do is as far as your drivers, bus drivers, get us some numbers and what other towns are doing. And give that to your liaison, and also copy it to me as the finance chair, okay?
Okay.
And also the other stuff that we talked about, do the same thing. The other things, as far, we don't know what that cost may be, because we don't know what the miles will be yet.
No, we have absolutely no idea. It's really just sort of a heads up. I don't think it's gonna be more than maybe $1,000 or so, but, it is something that Andrew's gonna have to throw into the pot. And we should know by the end of March.
Do you want to increase miscellaneous until we know what,
Well, it doesn't come out, Mr. Chair, it doesn't come out of my budget. It actually comes out of, I think, salary, well,
Well,
it's
it's
cut
like
money.
salary and wage, which is offset through the grants that are down, right? But those grants have been going down also, so.
right?
Yeah, we took it 9%.
I think it's down to 7,500.
Yeah. Yep.
Isn't it?
Well, it was 10. So we gotta take
Right.
that.
Yeah.
I would say then, as soon as you know something, then let us know.
Absolutely, I will. I just thought I'd throw it in.
But please get us that information on bus drivers.
Yeah, I will. Like how many, we should need like 3 towns?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
All right, Sheila, thank you.
okay, great. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
More stuff. Andrew, are they replacing what they have?
Yes, those are replacing the,
Yeah.
yes.
But I have one on yours on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, you can keep them both.
Gentlemen, how are you tonight?
Good evening. How are you doing?
Good, sir. You want to start with garbage?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
The floor is yours, so if you want to go down, and I guess we'll stop you guys there. There
Okay. First one on garbage is our supplies, so we're looking at 7,000 this year for supplies. Dues and licenses, we're looking at 1,000. Clothing and allowance, 5,000.
Just stop me on the dues and licenses. You have $1,000, which we budgeted last year, but we only spent $54.
The dues and licenses, I don't know where the rest, how that might have come out last year. Maybe it might have come out of a different line item, but we're looking at things such as the diesel emission test for all the sanitation trucks. They're close to $100 a piece, plus DEP stickers and any other stickers that might be needed for the landfill. So with that alone, we'll be getting close to that number on there for the dues and licenses. Any more questions? Clothing allowance, 5,000. Maintenance or repair to the vehicles, 30,000.
Why don't you explain to us the difference? Again, we spent about $15,400 last year. The increase, recommended increase.
The recommended increase for the maintenance or repair, we have, so far this year, we've lost one vehicle that's being looked at right now due to fire damage. And the remainder of our vehicles are quite old, so they're going to probably need a lot of maintenance and upkeep to keep them going for the year. Also, with the loss of one of the mechanics, we're looking at probably more outside maintenance having to be done with the trucks to keep all of them on the road for all the routes and everything. So I think that's more than justifiable to keep this sanitation going through the year. And hopefully, knock on wood, not.
What percentage of maintenance on the trucks actually goes outside? I mean, is done inside and doesn't go outside?
Percentage done inside the shop now, it's gone down the years. This year will probably be less, 20% of maintenance, 30% of maintenance.
Between 20 and 30?
Yeah, there's only one mechanic now.
But last year you had two, so how much of that?
Well, we were able to get more, you can do more of the, race and stuff like that. And that, two mechanics in the shop. It's just getting hard with one person.
But I guess last year, was it still about 30%, 20-30%?
Probably, it's still even hard at that, with the two guys, to do the kind of keep on those. Sometimes you have to get them out to the outside repair in order to have them back in the shop for the next guard to pick up, so we're kind of forced to have them go out for outside repair in order to have them back on the line for the next day guard to pick up.
So really because of the need for them,
Because
it's
it's
even
even
more,
Yep.
you need the 7,000 to get it done quicker.
Yeah, it's kind of pressing. Tires, 10,000. Yeah, we lowered that. We had a good amount of we had a good amount of tires done the previous year. Coming into this year, we still had some tires. I have 11 tires on the trucks. I think with the casings I have and getting to the cap, I'll be able to go through, and I think that's a pretty reasonable amount that should get me through. Even with lowering that, we went to a different style of retread that we're using, and we instead of getting tires changed every quarter, it went to almost once a year. So the life expectancy of the tires on this garbage truck really went up, dramatically.
Is it beneficial that we dump locally compared to the landfill?
That goes without saying.
So that's where savings is also.
Savings can be there also. Yeah, landfill and back is around 30 miles round trip to Edgeboro and back. And if you've ever been up to the landfill, you know how it's pretty treacherous just driving through there. So, I mean, here you're dumping right in the county. You're only a half mile away. You're dumping on a clean pad at a transfer station. So, right there, the amount of wear on tires is going to be substantial.
Yeah, last year, I guess we did spend any money on tires last year.
Yeah, we got away quite good with tires. We did really well with that. Like I said, we switched the Ram 3 taps we got. So we were getting the lifespan out of them increased dramatically.
That's on.
Yeah.
I know in 2010, we spent 18,000.
Made a big difference, yeah.
I don't have a problem with that number. Any other questions as far as the garbage?
$0 here for outside maintenance.
Kind of combined outside maintenance with maintenance and repairs. It's almost made it easier because of the similarity in how you kind of define maintenance. It's going to be maintenance outside maintenance. We just combine those two items into one.
Maybe that's something on that, we'll do that.
Yeah.
No problem. Miscellaneous.
Right.
Okay, excellent, that's good.
Any other questions? Garbage fund. Additional? All right. Next one, roads. Next one would be roads.
Yeah. Oh, you did, it was so cold when I came in.
All right, get ahead, roads.
Roads, first one is subscriptions. We get magazines from municipality and the league and stuff like that. Just keeps us current on different things that are going on. Supplies, we're at 12,000 for supplies. Clothing and allowance, 3,500. Dues and licenses, 500. Education, 1,000. Equipment repair, 1,500. Maintenance, material supplies, 6,500. Maintenance and repair of vehicles, $17,500. Miscellaneous, $2,500. Road repair materials, $30,000. Snow expense, $15,000. Tires, $5,000.
Back to road repair materials, I see that in 2011, we budgeted for $5,000, but we spent $11,700. You're increasing it to $30,000. Can you explain why?
Yeah, last year we didn't do the crack seal program, which was usually around $29,000 or so, $30,000. We didn't do any of that last year. This year we're going to have to, implement that program again and get some streets going with the crack sealing. So that money's going to have to be back in the budget so we can continue on with that road maintenance program of doing streets that are in need of, crack sealing this year. So that money has to go back in the budget for that.
I guess the only question I have with that is that if last year we spent $11,700 without doing that, now you're saying that will cost us $29,000.
Not necessarily. It could come down, it could be revised depending on how much we need to do. It's usually budgeted for around that amount. If we have to do more crack sealing other than less. So, but it might work out where we might do less and that amount could come down. But we'd like to be prepared in case we have to do more roads.
So the two of you are comfortable with that? Any other questions from anybody else?
Yeah, road repair, right? Let's go back to that. You have budget for 2011 was 5,000. We didn't anticipate doing any roads last year?
Well, last year with the, with everything that was going on in the transfer of, superintendent out of the shop and everything else that was going on, we did look into some of the things that were going on with the roads, and we seen that we could get by last year with letting those roads, or the ones that we thought needed to get done, fall onto this year, which, they weren't in dire need, so we're going to take care of them this year, and that's why the money was that we're putting it back.
Like from 5 to 11, 7 last year to how much this year? Okay.
Anything else? Councilwoman, any questions? I'm fine with everything else. I guess we can move on to next parks, I guess.
Ready?
You're set.
The Parks Department, for supplies, we have $2,500. Clothing and allowance, $1,500. Nothing in dues and licenses. Education and training, $1,000. Equipment, new and maintenance, $3,100. $3,100. Maintenance repair of vehicles, $2,800. Maintenance materials, $7,700. Miscellaneous, $500. Snow expense, $1,500. And for the porta-johns, $3,200.
Yeah, I guess, supplies, we spent $1,242 last year, and we did budget $2,500, you're keeping that the same. Basically, what falls under those supplies as far as for parks?
For the supplies, well, supplies, we get a lot of the repairs for the toilets at the various parks for Mountain View Park, Cook, and Harrison Field. They all have the bathrooms. We have to buy supply, repair parts and supplies for those bathrooms. Also the garbage cans that have to be replaced, we lost, garbage cans, some just age, some we lose, some are, throughout the parks, they have to be replaced. And also, there's different shovels rates and different things that the guys use for the maintenance and upkeep of the park. Also the cleaning supplies and toilet papers and different things for all those, the different restrooms in the different parks have to be, bought throughout the year.
Maintenance materials, last year we budgeted for 4,200, we spent 4,634. You're budgeting for 7,700. Why that increase? And
Maintenance materials?
yes.
We buy the playground mulch and, what else is going over there? Some of the fertilizers, the quick dry for the fields, the conditioners, mound mix. There's a lot of money that goes into the different materials needed for the ball fields and such. For those things, field dry, the field mix, all those things are going to be coming out of that, the maintenance, the materials for the different, the different ball fields. There's approximately about 11 different ball fields, so it requires a lot of different lines and field dries to keep that close in shape for the upcoming ball season.
So this includes this is all the material you need for the maintenance of all the parks, including Victor Cole, the rest of Mountain View Park, all that, other than the ball fields.
Yes.
So that includes if there's grass seed needed, things of that sort.
Grass
Fertilizers,
yeah. All that would fall into this also.
Why the sudden, or why the, not the sudden, but why the increase of $3,000? Is that something that had not done or expanded last year or the last couple of years?
Also, the sod is needed for, we needed to do sod on some of the fields that are getting redone over at Haverstick and stuff. We're doing some of the field reclamation over there, Haverstick and over by the high school. So those fields are getting redone. We have to cut out a lot of bad areas. They're going to be getting resodded and filled in with different topsoils and ball field materials. So that's going to be added in.
Andrew, a portion of that money is coming out of recreation, wasn't it, for that field? For the Haverstick field? The recreation wasn't taking some out of their trust or anything for that?
That was,
That
they were going
was
to
for
expand.
the playground.
Okay, there was no money allocated for Haverstick at all? The field, the field all the way in the corner, the far corner, that's there? I thought it might have too, I'm not sure, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head,
Okay.
but I will find out. But I think even the school was gonna pay for half the sod.
I guess one of the things I want to make sure is that, I know we have to take care of the ball fields and all those things, but there are just parks out there too. And I want to make sure that we have enough material to do that also.
Right, I mean, each year we usually have to do the certified playground mulch in all the different playgrounds around. They usually have to get remulched every year, so that becomes kind of expensive too, just to go ahead and get all the mulch that you need, the certified playground mulch for all the different playgrounds throughout the borough that have to be usually done every year. So that's another big expense that it has to be taken care of usually at the beginning of the season.
That's all the questions I have. Anybody else have any other questions? You good? Okay, that's it for parks.
What's last year, this year? What's the difference between last year and this year as far as totals, and that's just on reading is that?
We'll have a public session.
I'll wait.
Sewer.
Sewers, Supplies, for 1,500 for supplies. Dues and licenses, $200. Clothing, 1,000. Education, 500. Equipment repairs, 3,000. Maintenance repair for vehicles, 2,500. Outside maintenance, 15,000. Permits and fees, 1,000. Roof control, 15,000. And basin repair, 3,000.
Any questions from the bank committee council?
We have two here for the liners for the sewers. The manholes, sewer liners. You have that in here?
That's, I think that's pretty, is this one? That was the basin repairs. We have them all estimated, how much?
Is it for 6,000?
Mhm. Yeah.
Stormwater management,
Let's come out stormwater management.
most of it. 6,000 of it will come out of stormwater management, and 500 will come out of the sewers somewhere.
Now with the sewers, the equipment repairs, the injector, that's part of the sewers, correct, over here? Sewer house, I guess over on 28,
The pump house on 28?
that's part of the sewers?
Yes.
The injector on there is fine, all the pumps are fine, all, everything else is in good shape?
They just redid the whole panel got redone on that. There's work that had been done on the emergency backup generator on that. You know, they're continually looking at doing different things for the pumps over there. They're all up to, you know, as of yet, they're all running, you know, okay. Nothing's wrong with any of them. They have 3 pumps. We have the backup pump. Generator's been repaired, it's running. We have a backup generator that we use for the other small satellite stations. That's back there up and running. So as far as those things go, we just had new sump pumps putting down in the pump station themselves.
Okay, so all the pumps are up to, all in good shape, and you have extra ones in case,
The 3 that we have are running, and there's an extra one to replace anyone that might go down.
okay. I just want to make sure I don't want to have, that's been unexpected, that's.
How many employees in sewers?
Now there's 1.
Okay, so we've got clothing allowance for 2.
I guess we can just move that or reduce, yeah.
The only question I have is the basin repairs. Basically, we didn't budget anything for that last year, and we're budgeting 3,000 for that. I know we have storm basins to clean and repair.
Yes.
I know that is going to be a priority this year to get done.
Yeah.
So $3,000 is that sufficient enough to get these basins that need to be repaired?
It should be, because most of the repairs that are going to have to be done should be just what happens on a lot of them, if they're getting undermined for some other road problems in front or behind the basins. The block is already there that can be used over again a lot of times, where it's a lot of labor, more labor a lot of times than actual, we're talking about mortar and maybe some blocks, or a couple pallets of basin block that might have to be bought to repair the basins, mortar, and things of that nature. Not big ticket items. A lot of it is manpower that goes into actually going out there, doing some jackhammering and taking basins apart, rebuilding them, and then putting them all back together. So the items needed, that should more than cover the items that we need to rebuild them, as far as any cements and mortars, a couple pallets of basin block. The primary parts are already there, the basin back head of it, the basin grates. As we're gonna be cleaning them, we're gonna be implementing a system, hopefully where we're gonna put in the retrofits on the basins at the same time. So, I think we should be okay with that money that's in there now.
I just want to make sure they're comfortable with that number, because that is something that needs to get done this year, so.
We have the retrofits in stock already?
We used up what we had, we're in the process of ordering more.
You order more, we have enough in here to cover it?
Well, they have to be done in stages because of the cost of them and what it takes to actually put them together and get them on the basins. We do them in stages. We usually get in X amount of them, between 50, usually 50 to 100 come on a pallet. And then we try to get those done between, either the cleanings or on a separate job assignment kind of schedule. Just have them assembled and then, at the shop, and then they'll go out and assemble them onto the basins.
So you have enough money in there to do that?
Well, once again, that'll probably come from,
Well, there's one thing, we got a section, we might get money for that other section.
there's money that's gonna be coming from, hoping HUD for, one of the sections over the Capline area. We'll probably be able to get our next amount of, the retrofits through that. There's money gonna be supplied through part of that for, probably the manhole inserts and the retrofits. So that will probably be our next stage of purchase for over there.
You're talking about the HUD grant money that we get?
That's correct.
I guess the question, both are asking you, I mean, basically, you just want to make sure that you're budgeting enough money to get these things done this year. You just want to make sure of that.
Well, saying that, I think the only question is the retrofits. We have the inserts on, we have the basin repair part. It would be the retrofits that would be probably up in the air.
But if you're rebuilding the basins, is that the best time to put the retrofits in?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Either or, cleaning them and rebuilding, either stage of it, during the cleaning process or the rebuilding process. Rebuilding process can take, upwards of a half a day to, a day, depending on how extensive the repair would be on rebuilding.
How much is a retrofit head?
Retrofits are about $150 per basin head. That's the retrofit and the hardware to attach it to the basin head.
And at this point, what percentage of Middlesex is done with retrofits?
A couple hundred probably.
30%.
30%? And what can you think you can get done this year? I know it's based upon money, I'm going to allocate the money, but do you feel you can get done?
We'd like to at least get over 50%, maybe 75%.
So, would you have the, my question is, would you have the money to do that much at this point, with this budget you have in front of us?
We probably have to have some more money to, yeah.
How much more money do you need? Why don't you guys do this? Well, why don't you do the research that you need to do, okay? Get it to your liaison, and also give me a copy of the finance chair, okay? So then we can present it to the finance committee.
Absolutely.
And take a look at it.
If you're gonna start fixing up the basins, would be the best time just to retrofit the head at the same time, I think.
There may be a different place of why.
Any other questions from anybody else? Sewers? Sean, anything? Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
How are you tonight?
Fine, thank you.
How are you? Floor is yours.
It's all mine.
Yeah, it's all yours.
The budget is substantially below that of 2007. Thank you.
Sold.
You carefully look bad, you know?
The budget, I think in my case, is exactly the same as last year. No increases, no decreases. Pretty simple and straightforward.
Any questions for me, Sean?
Oops, there was a small increase.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It had to do with the statutory stuff. There was no particular place to put it, so I put it under miscellaneous. And it consists of 3 items. The assessment postcards that get mailed out every February from a company in Trenton to everybody in the state. Last year, I believe it was $1,400. We have tax binders that we have to get each year from taxes, which was the same as last year, $175. And then I always have a $200 for unanticipated, assuming some kind of an increase usually in the notices from Biden.
I don't have any questions, so. What was that?
Miscellaneous supplies.
Anybody have any problem moving miscellaneous to supplies? I don't have a problem with that.
That's what it is, your miscellaneous is supplies?
I'm sorry.
Your miscellaneous is supplies?
Miscellaneous supplies, no, I do have like an item for supplies, which I believe is the same as last year.
Yes, it is, but you had miscellaneous for this year. What would miscellaneous be?
Well, I had the miscellaneous for last year also, and I always put in miscellaneous those 3 items. The assessment notices, the tax binders, and then $200 for unanticipated, assuming an increase in postage.
Can I go to supplies?
They just want to move it around.
Yeah.
They just want to move it around.
Put that under supplies. Yeah, put that under supplies.
We're just gonna
We're
move it
combined.
to supplies, we're gonna eliminate your miscellaneous and move it to supplies.
Oh, the unanticipated 200.
Right, no, all of it.
Move the whole line from
We're
miscellaneous.
gonna move the whole line up,
To supplies.
Oh, okay.
that's all.
Any other questions?
No.
Sean? That's it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
See you.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a good night.
See you Thursday, Friday.
Okay, the last department tonight is the clerk's office. So Kathy,
Thank you,
you
Council
got the
President.
floor.
Thank you, members, council. Everybody's ready. I'll start with Coco, just so that, I'm in the front of Sean.
Thank you.
There's no tabs on here.
So my tab color is clear. No, it's not. It's red.
You are clear.
Am I clear? No, it's red, I think, isn't it? Just to start off with the code books, it looks like there's a big difference in, codification, only because we still didn't get our codification amounts for the end of December. We're expecting another $3,000 to $3,500 bill, which should increase that to a little over $4,000. The reason I did lower it because we were intending years back to do more changes to the code books and amend more ordinances years prior. We've done not a lot, but we've done some. I know some departments are still looking to do some more changes as well, so I'm trying to keep it a little lower, but at least at $4,200. Last year we had 15 ordinances that we had to codify into our code book. And that's due to the changes in everybody's permit fees and other things of that nature. Going down to supplies, it's $2,500. That's due to minute books that we have to have, resolution books, ordinance books, special paper that we have to keep our minutes on. Those things are pretty costly. Meetings is $1,200. Mileage is $500. We have nothing for copying cost. I notice that nobody has that anymore because we're mostly, we do our own copying and we really have a computer. Dues and licensing is $3,100. That dues and licensing is mainly Greenbrook Flood Control Commission costs, and that changes year to year. I can't always put a number on it because I don't even know why they change. I should really try and find that out, but it doesn't differentiate too much, but it does differentiate. Education training, I have $300 in there. I wouldn't really call it education training. We have to do it for the borough, and it's in my budget, like sexual harassment courses and different courses every couple of years we try and do for the whole, all the different departments, just so that we're up to date on those type of things, and we're reminding everybody of what they need to, how they need to keep up with their, definitely with sexual harassment and other things that we have during the year. CEU education is $300. Basically, what happens with that, we don't put a lot in for CEU education. I get mine at a spring conference. Linda needs some, but most of the time, just to be honest with you, we haven't used much because I'm right now just still the president of the Clerks Association, and I try and get them all for free for the rest of the county, so we work on not spending anything on CEU education. Miscellaneous, which I know she's looking at me. But to be honest with you, we all used to have miscellaneous in our budgets, and I think Andrea's done a good job on getting that down. I know the clerk's budget at one time, when I first came here, was $40,000.
Miscellaneous?
Yeah, just the clerk's budget at one time. It was really, right? You remember that?
Yeah, it was not, yeah.
And I think due to the way Andrew handles the finance and the budget, and over the years, a lot of the stuff has come out of the clerk's budget and into the proper budgets, due to, past council members and her working on that. We've gotten it down to where everybody's in the right line items. I still do have miscellaneous, but I haven't spent that much. I don't know if the council desires to take it out of there. I think they're doing pretty good by getting rid of it. That stuff usually used to come from unforeseen items that happen in the building, whether it be keys, whether it be, I'm trying to think of the things, locks breaking. We don't really take it too much anymore from the clerk's budget, but I don't know. We still leave it in there for, and it goes lower every year, we just leave it in there. And under equipment, I have general code. I have, I think it wasn't in there last year, is general codes under equipment. That's for the codification online. That's the annual maintenance for $11.95. It's the annual maintenance for keeping that up to date online.
Okay, you don't have that budget this year.
Well, because it was never taken out of there. This year, I think your department took it out of equipment, and I did put it in equipment.
Right.
I assumed last year that we were taking all the contracts out of a separate line item, it was supposed to come out of the line item for the borough, right? The copy machines, I thought that was part of that, but
Right.
apparently I took it out of somewhere, I didn't have it this year. I didn't put it in. I think you put it in your other line item.
Right.
Make comments or questions from the council?
Our code books last year was, so,
Well, last year, the first 1,082.50, when we did them in March, we try and do it twice a year.
yeah.
We did it at the end of December. We still haven't codified them for us, and we're expecting another $3,000. That's why,
I expect that.
yeah, for last year, because we did 15 ordinances altogether. We try and do it really towards the end of the year. We were doing them a little more often. We used to get a lot more ordinances years ago, because we had more bond ordinances but we're not doing that now, so we're trying to do it just maybe once a year, depending on how many ordinances we get. So, you know, if we did it all the time, it'd be more of an expense. So it's easier to, you know, not do it as often.
Anything else, Sean? Okay, we're good. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, that concludes tonight's discussion on the budget. On the 21st, we will have the remaining department heads come in and review their budget. The next item on the agenda is resolutions. Kathy, you want to read resolution 50-12?
Resolution 50-12, authorizing state contract purchase of radio communications equipment and accessories.
I'm going to turn it over to Councilman Kaplan to explain the resolution.
Basically, 50-12 is to
Maybe we
purchase.
do a motion before we get a motion, is that, we just have to talk about to do a motion and stuff.
I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to accept resolution 50-12?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
No, now you can talk, now we can
That's
talk.
right. Okay, any discussion?
Yeah.
This 50-12, the authorization, we put money last year into capital, and each time we spend it, we have to pass a resolution to spend the money, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Spend this amount of money. This is for radio equipment that has to do with replacing old existing equipment and also for the narrowbanding. It is for some antennas that we replaced by the county's going to come in and put up new antennas on the T-Mobile tower. And they offered to put up antennas for us at no additional charge, no charge to us, so it'll help us out greatly.
Will this affect anything we're doing with the issue we had with that was discussed at the last meeting with the FCC?
Yes, it'll help us. The antennas will be more, right now we have OmniPoint directionals up there. These new antennas will be based where it's going to be able to cover the town. We won't have as many dead spots currently. So it'll be, the antennas are more directional towards like umbrella covering the town.
So by us putting it up on the tower, we're not going to get ourselves in any more trouble or because of what we did in the past?
No, actually, T-Mobile just did a structural last week, and we passed the structural based upon the equipment that's up there and the equipment that will be added.
That's any question I have. Any other questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Takash? Yes. Council President DeMiro?
Yes.
Councilman Jenkins?
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan?
Yes. Motion carries. Next resolution.
Resolution 5112 is a resolution authorizing the engineer to submit a receptor evaluation form to the NJDEP in reference to the landfill, not to exceed $2,000.
Motion to accept resolution 51-12.
So
Second.
Second.
Okay. Basically, what this is the DEP basically is developing a new remediation plan. They're trying to streamline getting more brownfield properties like landfill, remediation plants out there so that towns can finish their projects, get them cleaned up. So that they put together, they basically developed a new streamlined program. And one of the things that we have to do to get into that program is to do a receptor evaluation, fill out a receptor evaluation form by March 1st and get it to the DEP. Basically, what this does, there's 4 main components to this form. One is they have to do a 200-foot property search. They have to do a well record search, a well canvas, a baseline ecological evaluation, and 4, a vapor intrusion. Basically, the resolution is to give our engineer T&M the permission to move forward to do what is needed to get this receptor evaluation form into the DEP on time. Basically, the resolution says the amount will not exceed $2,000 in cost to do that. Again, the DEP, in their wisdom, has put together this project, and hopefully it'll start to streamline and give us the opportunity to finally get a remediation plan approved, to finally get our landfill cleaned. So this is the first step that we have to do this year to do so, and that's what this resolution is for. Any other comments? Any questions? Call the roll.
Councilman Zakesh?
Yes.
Council President DeMuro?
Yes.
Councilman Jenkins?
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan?
Yes.
Motion carries. Okay, I'll open the floor to the public.
John Hoffman, 455 Lincoln Boulevard. I attended these meetings last year, and the public had copies of everything they're discussing. Is there some reason we don't have them this year?
It was just a omission on our part. We'll make sure that we get them out. If you want some, you can come to the clerk's office or we can get them for you.
They're available at the clerk's office prior to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, last time I believe they were on the table. I got a copy of them all last March when I attended on the meeting, on the weekends they were held. I was the only one from the public, so we only needed one copy.
That was the year before.
Okay.
Last year, it was the year before we did that.
All right, well, I'll request that next time.
Okay.
Now, on them ball fields there, why is the rec department not contributing to the cost of those things for at least the materials?
I don't think we're sure if they are or they aren't right now. Is that correct? You know, John, I'd have to check into that and see if they are. I thought that was discussed last year, and it was, but I'll have to check and see if they are.
And I don't understand all the money going into that field that was abandoned last year, that floods, and that is now more of a priority than the storm drains and everything else in this town. I just really wanted to know about that there. I mean, there's a lot of issues here, but I'll get a copy of that budget and I'll have questions next time, I guess. Tires, every quarter, we gotta put tires on a garbage truck, and that doesn't raise any eyebrows on anything. I mean, every 3 months, we gotta put tires on them, they drive around a 3 square mile town.
Well, last year, John, we didn't spend any dollars on tires.
Well, I remember Mr. Schaefer being in a meeting, and it was $1,000 per front tire for the garbage trucks, I recall those. So they were in the budget, there was an extreme amount there once again. I would think that would be under maintenance also, because tires are kind of maintenance. That's about it. And sewer rings now for the manholes coming out of the HUD money, I don't know about all of that. I wouldn't really have that department rely on that. What's that?
I'm sorry, actually, it wasn't the rings, it was the new retrofit heads.
Those are quite expensive, huh? 150 a piece, and what, we got 1,500 storm drains from what I understand? And they have 200 done? That's way under 30% that they said they have done.
I agree.
Okay, there's 1,500 storm drains, the last I heard, and they have 200 done. That's a long way to go. Let me see, 150 a drain, 1,500 drains, that's quite enough there. That's a couple $100 grand, ain't it?
I think that we have some already in-house. I don't know what it is, that's what we have to find out. That's why I wanted to get that answer.
Well, we're way under the mark they said,
Mhm. Yes,
so. And as far as doing that, if we put them on first, we don't have as much crap going down in the thing there. So I don't understand having to rebuild the basin in order to, and waiting to put them on. The less stuff that gets into the water stream, the better, isn't it? So, I mean, that's a 2-minute thing from what I see, a couple bolts and all that twist around. It doesn't seem like it's a rocket science project. All right, I would like to have the paperwork. I'll ask for it next time on the 21st. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Mike Clarence, Bob Harrison. I'm just gonna ask a question now, what's the difference between DPW budget last year and this year? Does anyone know?
What is the difference? Yeah, we need one. You know, right?
I think it's going up about 30,000, I don't know if they will, that one I have more than that.
And that excludes salary and wage, right? This is
Just over.
just
Just
operating
for-
budgets. Is it also a fair statement that you guys are taking the money for the part-timers and any extra hours you need for the recycling? It's coming out of salary and wage, you know, it's not coming out of recycling trust, and there's just gonna be an increase in salary and wage.
That's
You wanna give some afterwards?
Pardon?
You wanna give some afterwards, like,
Yeah, I'll add them up, I don't know off the top of my head, I didn't
okay, that's no problem.
We'll make sure we get to, we'll make sure we get to.
I didn't know if you guys had the, told, cause, you know, when he was going through it, he just wasn't reading off 2011, 2012. So I just, it was hard to follow. It goes increasing or decreasing in those numbers, that's all. Thank you.
Since there's no one else, I'll close the public portion of the meeting.